you think back to what President Eisenhower did in what was it 57, 58, Little Rock, where the question in Little Rock was about whether the governor, who didn't want to segregate the schools, desegregate the schools, whether he could defy the law. And he had the militia on his side, the state militia. And Eisenhower decided to send federal troops, the 101st Airborne Division. And at that point, I think the country faced up to the question of, in the South particularly, do we want to defy the rule of law? And the answer was no. It was a close question in the South, but the answer ultimately was no. Now that's a very important decision for the country. It means that a rule of law is going to win, even when it's unpopular.
Well,
and so then 20 years later, or 15 years later, we have a situation where that rule of law is strong enough that the president will not put himself in the position of not following the law. And subsequently, with getting the tapes, it goes, as I said, to the Supreme Court. At that point, the Supreme Court says, turn over the tapes. And he does it. He's going to do it.
It was a very important moment.
Yes, yes. And he could not, because of the state of the American public believes in this rule of law, and they're right. But that's not something that just happened magically. It's something that there's a long, long history behind.
It was a test of our political culture, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was. I think it was, but it's not perhaps. I think the real test was the desegregation in Little Rock. And I think that was where it was touch and go. And I think the law won out. Very good thing. And then by the time of Watergate, it's very interesting. You see, all of that, I think, is part of Charlie Wright's thinking, too. It's important, even here, you see, where probably President Nixon is thinking everyone else is wrong and he's right, or whatever. People normally do think that, you know. They think they're right and everybody else is wrong. I think that. We all think that.
It's human.
Yeah, it is human. So he's thinking, he decides still, I'm going to follow this law. I'll go to court, then if I lose, I abide by the result. So nobody notices that. But that's what's so important about this, in part, from a lawyer's point of view, and I think ultimately from the public's point of view.